Welcome to today's episode. We have a fantastic guest joining us, Tull, founder and CEO of Dekstech, where he specializes in web design and development for medium and large-sized businesses on Shopify and Shopify Plus. With a strong emphasis on data-driven strategies, Dekstech helps brands navigate the complexities of the digital marketplace, ensuring their online presence is both effective and efficient. Luke has become an expert in building and optimizing online stores. He has deep understanding of the complexities and nuances of the Shopify platform, making him the go-to resource for brands looking to enhance their e-commerce presence. Luke's journey began with experimenting in dropshipping, where he learned valuable lessons about sales and customer behavior, eventually channeling his knowledge into creating effective and efficient e-commerce solutions for his clients. This episode covers key topics such as the importance of mobile user experience, the role of technical SEO in boosting website performance, and the significance of understanding customer psychology. Luke also discusses how Dekstech uses data-driven approaches to improve conversion rates and the surprising trends in desktop versus mobile purchases. Finally, Luke emphasizes the importance of human connection in e-commerce and shares a fun fact about the origin of Dekstech name. You won't want to miss this episode, filled with expert advice and practical tips for anyone interested in e-commerce and digital marketing. Enjoy! Welcome to the Ecom Pulse, your heartbeat to the world of e-commerce. I'm your host, Eitan Kotter. Join us as we meet with industry leaders, marketing experts, and the innovative minds behind the tech that is shaping the e-commerce future. So plug in, gear up, and get ready for a pulse-pounding journey into the heart of e-commerce. Hi, Luke. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Doing well. Thank you so much. How are you today? Where are you based, by the way?
I'm based out of the U.S. I'm located in the Midwest. Little fun fact: it's not really the middle west of the United States anymore, but it used to be.
Okay.
So I live in Ohio.
What happened? The climate change, or
the western border of the United States actually, from when this was coined the Midwest, actually grew after that fact. So it used to be, I think, before Texas, I want to say, and then it kind of kept growing outward, and eventually got to California with the gold rush. And it's not in the Midwest; it's actually towards the eastern states of the United States. So it's a funny little history lesson.
Nice. So that's a very nice fun fact. Thank you for sharing that. Really, it's really nice. So look, I'd love to chat with you today about all things e-commerce. Shopify Plus. I know you're running an agency which is doing very well. So maybe we can start with a quick intro about you, right? And about your company. And let's take it from there.
Sure. So my name's Tull, as you said, and I run a company. It's called Dekstech. Basically started that company about 6 years ago, was doing a lot of night owling, things in the early mornings and late nights for quite some time there. And then I left my job last year and started running this company full time. So I've been in the e-commerce space quite a bit, 6-7 years now. Got introduced through dropshipping. That didn't work in the beginning. I eventually got it to actually work, but that's how Dekstech was created, is got introduced to dropshipping, failed a bunch of times, and then realized I had a unique skill set, how to build stores, how to technically accomplish things that other companies or individuals couldn't do themselves. And that's basically how Dekstech was created. Come a long way since then. Now working with some bigger brands. Definitely have a big focus on Shopify Plus, because that's where a lot of people have really complicated needs, and they're not like the easiest things to solve in the world. So that's Dekstech.
So probably you spend a lot of hours on YouTube, searching, trying to find your niche, trying to find your best product, getting convinced that it's a passive income type of business, right?
Yes.
Everything works and everyone can become a millionaire with dropshipping, okay? Well, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely got pulled in. The thing is, I don't think I realized I had such a gap in my skill set. I was very technically sound at the time, and I knew how to do all the importing, exporting, and how to get products on the store, how to communicate with the suppliers. But I had zero sales background and zero idea about how to sell something online. So it didn't matter what store, what brand, what product I threw up, and put up on the online. It just never really worked because I don't think I actually understood consumer psychology very well. I don't think I understood the buyers sort of getting into their shoes, right? I was kind of selling from this is what makes us awesome, not how does this solve your problem and this is why we're selling this product.
Yeah.
So that definitely was the core issue, I'd say, was when I first got started in dropshipping.
Yes. I mean, you have a data tech background specifically around data in the data space, right? Managing data migration and technical data and analysis of things. How this background, you think, has helped you first figure out what you don't know, right? And how to adapt and learn, right, along the way, because you obviously made a huge progress since then.
Yeah, definitely have come a long way since then. I would say the main thing, the data background definitely helps because it helped me think about things in a certain way, especially when it comes to tech, that gave me an advantage when it comes to learning all these different coding languages, because I've learned 4 or 5 basically over the past 5 years. Like every year, I feel like I'm learning a new language. Mm-hmm. So it definitely helped me in that aspect. I also think I had a consulting background as well, and I was always more focused on the business side. That's still something that drives me today is, okay, this is great. We can build this really sexy, cool application or make this UI look this certain way. But what is the bit, like, why are we doing this?
Who cares?
And what,
right?
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Because I think as developers, engineers, software engineers, whatever you want to call them, we fantasize about building the coolest stuff. To me, I don't think it's that exciting unless there's some sort of business value or business initiative tied to it. So I think when I first got started and I was talking to, potential clients, prospects, and things of that nature, I always wanted to understand why are we talking together, right? Why are we here today? What are you actually trying to do? And sometimes it is as basic as, hey, I designed this blog, just throw this up on my website. That's fine. We can do that. But I think the thing that set me apart on the Upwork platform specifically is my ability to think about the business side of the equation and really just try to understand, well, why does that matter? Why is your customer, or why should I design it this way? And tell me more about your customer and what they're trying to do, and then building solutions based off of that.
Yeah. So don't fall in love with the product or features, but with probably customer pains, right? So there are so many parents to this quote, but I guess it's so true, right? So, and I know you're working with like 8-figure brand, 9-figure brands, some of the biggest brands out there. What are the things that you see right now in the market? Why brands are reaching out to you? What are the the topics that are really interested these days?
Yeah, and we were talking a little bit beforehand. I think the main thing to me that's coming out in 2024 is the user experience, and I think the level of competition is so much higher online. So brands are reaching out to us saying, hey, we have a website, but we really don't like how it works. We really don't think it's actually solving. We feel like it's creating a lot of friction for our customers. We feel like it can be done in such a better way. A lot of it has to do with managing the data and describing the product and how to sell it and how to feature it. The main thing that we've been focused on, I feel like every single customer we've had this year has been, hey, our mobile experience. Let's talk about the mobile experience. Let's make sure that things that are important are above the fold. Let's make sure people don't have to scroll too much. Let's make sure it's obvious if there's content to the right or left, things of that nature. And that's a major trend. And basically, here's the underlying business problem is, hey, our store isn't, it's not making enough sales. We want to get a higher conversion rate. We want to make sure if someone's visiting the website that we have the best opportunity to actually turn that visitor into a buyer. And a lot of it has to do with user experience, specifically on mobile devices, I would say.
Got it. So, I mean, there is a technical aspect to this topic and probably more of a data-driven customer journeys research type of things, right? So the pages obviously needs to have, technically needs to build correctly and everything should work. In terms of, for example, loading time, right? And we know the attention span is like below 2 seconds or something these days, 1.7 seconds or something, right? So, and it used to be 7 seconds like 3 years ago. Now it's crashing. So, I mean, technically we need to make sure that those pages load fast and technically built correctly, but there is also all the data analysis. So how do you approach, the CLO topic? Is it through analyzing existing data or just, the customer said, hey, I feel we need to do something. I really don't know what, but it definitely requires an update. What's your approach?
Yeah, so you mentioned my data background before, and I think that comes into play when it comes to CRO, so conversion rate optimization.
Yeah.
The main thing I'm seeing that the thing is, you can look at a website visually and just say, yeah, we should move this button here and recolor it and restructure this information, right?
Is probably we need a different hex or something. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And you can do that, right? And there's definitely value in doing something like that. I'm not going to doubt that. Based on experience, yeah, there's certain things you can do and there's certain things you can test and whatnot from a CRO perspective. Our perspective is show me the data, right? Show me where people are visiting, how they're getting there, what sort of behavior do they have? Are they just falling off instantly? So just recently, we were working with a client, above 50% of the traffic is going to the homepage, which is it's actually a little bit unique, I would say. A lot of companies, that's not the case. But basically, we're just looking at what are the pages getting hit up the most and where is the fall off occurring in the process, right? So in this example, we're seeing, hey, over 50% of your traffic is going to the homepage. And then 50% of those people that actually visit the homepage, they leave before going anywhere else. So that's a big issue. We'd say it's like, okay, they shouldn't be
leave completely the website, right?
Yeah. They just abandon the site for whatever reason. And basically red flag goes up saying, whoa, wait a second. They're obviously interested. They're visiting your homepage for a reason. What could go wrong? Mm-hmm. The funny thing about this data exercise is now we actually have to start looking at the website. We have to connect the dots together. We have to connect the data, what the data is telling us, with the website user experience, design, layout, structure of the data, et cetera. So in this example, we looked at the homepage. We said, oh, you know what? Your homepage, you don't have a primary call to action, a heading, or anything at the top. You just have a video that's on repeat. That's pretty significant. There's nothing to click above the fold. There's no call to action, nothing of this nature. So basically, we're connecting the dots, and we put our focus in the pages that have the most volume and have the largest impact on conversion. So you think about it, it's likely the product page because that's where the add to cart button is. That's where I can actually buy something. Then you have the collection page, which is basically a list of products, and then we have the home page. But it does depend on what's the volume of users going to that page, right? So it's like, whoa, we have a ton of traffic going to this page. We're losing half of those, like those people that visit that page. Well, we need to address that because that means they didn't even get a chance to get down to the product page, which is basically your primary moneymaker when it comes to e-commerce. So it's a combination of two things, I would say. It's like looking at the data, have the data tell us the story, and then connecting that back to the website, looking at the website and saying, okay, what could potentially be wrong? There have been cases where you can correct something and you still maybe need to use some recording software of some sort to understand what are people doing, because whatever we thought was the problem or thought would fix it is still not working. Mm-hmm. And our perspective as of late has been, okay, we don't just willy-nilly change stuff and then like we set a baseline and then we do A/B testing, which is basically comparing our changes versus what you currently have today. There's some actually really good tools on Shopify. Visually.io is the one that we've been using. Pretty good relationship with them. They actually allow you to test two different complete versions of a website, which actually we're currently doing for another client. And that's actually very powerful. It's like a complete redesign. It's basically, hey, this complete redesign, does this actually convert people better? Is it worse? And that's a very powerful tool. So basically, anytime we do CRO, it's making sure that we can actually test and make sure that changes we're making are actually driving the conversion rate upward versus the other direction.
Yes. So both of A/B testing are live, and visually, you're redirecting them, the visitors, and then you get aggregate data based on these two designs. And
correct.
It's a very good approach. And I'm going to ask you something you're not going to like the question, but I'm going to ask it anyhow. So there's so many variables in CRO and UI UX. There's so many things, right? And I know that even for the same brand with the same products, targeting the same shoppers, it's like two completely different worlds, right? Everyone has its own DNA. What people thinking about the brand and how our customer journeys needs to be designed. But do you see any, or maybe what are the best practices or tips or some of the things that you feel that are relevant for the majority of the use cases in terms of improvement, in terms of things that you see and you analyze, and you hope that in some way brands can improve. So I know it's very difficult to generalize, and it's not the right thing to do. That's why I say you'll not like the questions, but we are here trying to provide value and tips to other brands out there. So let's probably, if you can just think of few things that are like that you see right now that are mostly very clear to understand and quickly to update, then it will be a great value for our listeners as well.
Yeah, one perspective that we've been bringing to the table lately, and this has been really good, it's basically working with brands for products that we have no clue about. We don't understand them. We don't know what they are. So I think bringing a third party and just looking at your website and saying, if I knew nothing about this brand, nothing about this product, could I actually understand it in a very quick, to your point, within 1.7 seconds? I would say within 5 to 10.
Okay.
But that's something that we've been experiencing a lot lately. It's just like, hey, I don't know anything about your product. And when I go on the page, I don't get any sort of clarity about what the product is, what it does, why it's so much greater than the competition, if there are competitors. So I think looking at your brand and your website from a no clue who you are, and let's just say I get dropped on this product page because I have curiosity in that specific product.
Yep.
Making sure that actually clearly comes across, because we've actually ran across this 3 or 4 different times in the past, like 2 to 3 months, I would say, where it's just like, hey, I dropped on your page and I don't really know why I'm even wanting to buy this yet. Nice. I should know that pretty quickly.
Yeah. so this is more related to messaging probably, and doing the right SEO research and come up with the right differentiator statements, correct?
Yeah, it's the thing is with smaller brands and smaller products, we have to clearly articulate why in the heck someone would actually buy this product. Because I could have no clue that if I look up this widget and I go onto the website, maybe I don't know why I need this, or maybe I need to be a little bit convinced as why I need this. Like I heard from a friend, I need this extra thing to tie down my camping tent, right? Maybe I need it, maybe I don't. When I go on the website, it should really convince me to actually that, no, you absolutely need this. And these are like the 5 reasons why. That should be pretty clear. And I'm actually a bit shocked that when I log into websites or we do take on these projects that doesn't come out. It's like, hey, here are the technical specifications. Here's why it's so great. We have this cool, shiny finish. And it's like, okay, cool. But I don't even know why I want this in the first place yet. I'm kind of just trying to discover. Yes. So we call this basically a basic pitch or a product pitch of some sort, which is like 5 to 7 sentences. Larger brands don't need this. This is the thing. This is the funny part. You go look at Target, you don't need that. You go look at Walmart, you don't really need that. But I think these smaller brands, especially if your product, they might need a little bit of education, they might need a little bit of pushing, and might need a little bit of influencing. So I think having that readily available, maybe above the fold, if you can squeeze it in like 2 to 3 sentences, has been pretty key, at least what I've seen as of late.
Nice. I mean, being different is better than being better, right? I mean, you need to be unique. Try to differentiate yourself rather than saying I'm better than someone else, right? And that's, I think, not something which is not so easy to do, right? Obviously, and it's not easy for the smaller brand. I mean, it's more difficult to do. Consumer acquisition is becoming more difficult, and definitely, I mean, if you're a target and you're sending in email marketing, obviously your conversion rates are going to be higher than a brand who's unknown, right? So for the smaller brands out there, I mean, it's more difficult the acquisition is more difficult. All the inbound or type of tactics like email marketing, SMS, again, conversion rates are very, very, very low, right? Obviously, SEO is the big players game, right? And so what are and I know you've also been involved a lot with technical SEO and all of things. So what do you see that is working? How smaller brands can break through?
Yeah, in terms of SEO specifically, you'd be surprised how many brands, even some of the bigger brands, actually don't have a good technical SEO foundation. That's literally going onto Google and saying, Google, tell me my page speed. We've been researching a lot of the Shopify Plus brands and like what the issues are and where they could potentially improve, just out of curiosity and partially for our own benefit as well. But a lot of the stores that we've looked up have like a performance of 30 on Google. And it's like, what? Like you're paying Shopify all this money. You have this
Wow.
huge website. You're probably spending a ton of money on marketing. And Google is basically telling you, Red, this is a failure. This is not complying to what we think is a good website, because Google doesn't know anything about the product or the website or the brand or the founder or anything like that. It's just basically saying, do I rate your website highly or not? Yes or no. And these are like my 4 or 5 criteria. Yes, it's a complex algorithm, but really we just look at the basics. Hey, is Google saying your site speed is awesome, or is it saying it's not so good?
Yeah.
A lot of the brands we look at, it's not good. And that has to ding you, especially if you're talking about like top page results. That could be the differentiator between you and somebody else. Again, Google doesn't know how good your product is. It may not even care that much either. It's basically like, hey, do we think people are going to have a good experience? Is this brand actually complying to the standards that we have laid out? One of those being page speed. The other that we look at is Google Console, Search Console, which basically just tells you, hey, you have a bunch of 404s, which is basically pages on your website that have no content and don't lead to anywhere. It's no man's land. So we actually start there first. It's like 2 really basic things, but it always amazes me that some of these bigger brands, and maybe I'm sure they have many other things going on. So we typically come in and we just run those tests and we're like, hey, like these are all the problems. And we literally create 0 content, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
We literally just fix the back end. That's all we really do.
The 404, 301, I mean, just such a basic fundamentals things, right? You don't know that like you have like 150 pages that are, under 301 or 404. I mean, it's really, I mean, it's a bit, and I understand. I mean, I'm not surprised that you found it almost with any company that you work with. But again, it's getting more, I mean, over the years, right? It's, you have the history of all the things that you do on a website, and it needs some cleanup from time to time, obviously. Just the fundamentals, right? Making sure that technically everything works well, even before writing one blog, right?
That's the thing. You can write as much content as you want, but if you don't have the technical foundation, and we talk to companies all the time about this, it's like, if you have that technical foundation, then that content doesn't really, it's not going to have as big of an effect as if, your website was cleaned up fast and structured properly for Google to actually consume that information. So
Clear. So what are your thoughts in terms of all these activities? I mean, we used to write email marketing, and we used to have like, 30% opening rate and 15% clicking on schedule a meeting or whatever. Today, none of the companies have this data, right? We used to write blogs, and blogs you were ranked high in certain keywords. First page, right? That was the target first page, and filling in a form, but no one fills in a form today because they know how to do almost the entire purchase analysis without even discussing, with the brands or with the vendor, right? I think that, things are a little bit different today. In terms
I think we're actually going backwards. Like, not to cut you off there, but I actually think we are. I think what happened is we basically ran everything. We said everything can be automated, everything can be done with AI. Just fill out this form and buy this thing, and you'll get this product, right?
Yeah.
I kind of take a different perspective nowadays, where I've actually had a hard boundary with some of our potential prospects. If they won't talk to us, then we just don't work with them, because I want to like talk to the person face to face, get to know them, get to understand them, like person to person. If someone just sends me 5 bullet points in an email, that doesn't really have as much impact as if they talked about those 5 points with me. And I can ask questions and dig further down into those points. So I think, to your point, I think everything is trending downwards, because I feel like people aren't really being treated like people anymore. We're just being treated by like numbers, to your point, percentages and things of that nature, which that will always kind of exist when you're at a mass scale. But at least for me, when it comes to how we work with people today, it's, let's get on the phone. Let's jump on a call. Let's go on a video call and just chat for a few minutes.
And if you look at the new, sorry, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
No, go for it.
I'm saying if you look also at the younger generation that are becoming the primary shoppers, like Gen Zs, and always like a third of the purchase out there, they can identify a bot or an AI generated something from miles, right? I mean, it's like it takes them not less than 2 seconds. It takes them, I think it's on the microsecond level, right? And it's so easy for them. And they will not talk to any vendor who is just trying to manipulate or using too much Photoshop or ChatGPT or whatever type of AI. there are no shortcuts, right? So the human connection, the social engagement, where social creatures and brands that are becoming more and more authentic, less, probably too polished, I think are making success. And this is why TikTok is so successful, right? Because it's very authentic, very short form, and it actually speaks to the new generation of buyers.
Right? Yeah, I would agree with you completely. And that's definitely, that's something we're taking into account when we're looking at a website too, is like, how do we make this easier on somebody? I mean, that's basically what we're talking about. At the end of the day, we want to talk about a quick tip. It's how easy is it for me to understand this, interpret this information? Because we're living in a very fast world. And can I understand this? Can I understand the value it's going to bring to me very quickly? And can I buy it very quickly as well? Yeah. Like those checkboxes have to be met, or, your conversion rate is going to be 1%, maybe below that, right? Like maybe even worse. Exactly. So yeah, I think you're right. I think we're trending in that direction. And I was looking, at your company beforehand, and I was like, that's pretty cool. Even my mom, she does like LuLaRoe on Facebook, and it's all video based. So she like shows off the item. This is 165, very old school. Hey, nice. I'll send you an invoice after. Yeah. But it's like, it's more personable. And yeah, okay, she can't scale that business to like $4 million. But I do like the idea of people interacting with other people and having that connection still, to your point, and being more authentic. And I want that to come down the website as well. Like that's definitely the key for me as well. Is like making sure live chat's available, making sure you have a 1-800 number, making sure that you have a contact form that's readily available, like these type of things too. Mm-hmm. I've even told brands, I'm like, even if you don't monitor your live chat, at least have a button there just to tell people, hey, we're available if we need to be, basically. Most people won't use it. 95% of people won't click that button, right? So anyway, I digress.
This marketing charts, the research company, they just published, I think yesterday, a new report about US e-commerce spending, right? So definitely it's growing, right? But you'll be surprised. I was really surprised that the desktop share of online purchases, and I want to talk with you about mobile because everyone thinks mobile is very, very important, and it is. But still, the majority of the purchases are on desktop, right? And desktop actually grew, right? Substantially more than mobile in terms of the overall share of purchases, which is really fascinating. Okay, I can read like directly from the report. When mobile share of digital commerce hit a high watermark of 38%, last year by comparison, mobile share of digital commerce was 35%. Okay, so it's going down and desktop is going up. So what do you think about this phenomenon?
That goes to show you that I think we still have a long way to go when it comes to mobile design and actually making things a bit more consumable. Because e-commerce was built, and these UX and UIs were actually built based on desktop, based on laptops. Those don't necessarily work on a mobile device. And we've actually built some. So I feel like that's what it shows. And you're absolutely right. Like we're working with another brand. It's basically the conversion rate is double on desktop than it is on mobile. Yeah. And speak with the owner a little bit. He nonchalantly just said, yeah, people like to, look around on their mobile device, but they may not actually buy. And I think that's just showing you that there's so much friction, right? They probably would buy, and they probably would buy if it was easier. You also have to think about when I'm on my mobile device, I'm probably trying to do 90 other million things because we're kind of addicted to these things in our pockets, and we're mostly distracted when we're on a mobile device. We're on our desktop, on our computer, we're probably focused, a little bit more focused. We have a little bit more attention span. I don't have kids running around me. I'm not trying to cook steak or chicken or something like that at the same time as I'm looking at the, whatever product I'm viewing, a lawnmower, whatever have you, right? So and I guess what it tells us.
Yes, in desktop you are more engaged, right? You are like a lean forward type of experience, right? Rather than mobile or even like CTV or big screen where you're like, leaning back type of experience. You're not in the purchase mode, right? I guess it's probably mobile is very important. Obviously, in a different cycle or stage in the customer journeys, right? But for discovery, for competitive analysis, searching for other competitors as well. But the purchases are still done on the desktop. And now we have retail media, right? With CTV, Amazon, Netflix, they're all on advertising. type of packages that they've introduced, and also introducing shopping for the big screen. So that's another layer of purchase experience that still needs to be investigated and figure out, right? Whether people are going to purchase from the big screen, right? Whether it's through a QR code or some different type of experience. So these are all really exciting things.
Yeah, I've seen those QR codes and I've kind of chuckled a little bit because they last about 3 seconds and usually there's no warning. And I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be able to take a picture of that. So I got to laugh those off a little bit.
Trying to do, right? Just to tell, hey, we also have that, but don't use it, please.
Yeah, like I think you'd probably be better off just saying go to like barkbox.com/whatever the commercial is. You'd probably be better off doing that, something very memorable and short.
Exactly.
Then take a picture of this QR code. Really, oh shit! Like I gotta figure out how to take a picture.
It's similar with influencer marketing. That's an influencer that gets a coupon code from the brand and says, "Hey, this is the brand, the coupon code. Here is it, like in big captions or in the text. And just go to this brand website and just type the coupon code, and that's it. Something similar like that."
Yeah, something basic, because otherwise you got to try to figure out how to copy paste. It gets very messy, right? Like I'm in totally agreement with you there.
Yeah. Makes sense. Great. Luke, anything else you want to add?
I don't think so. I think these are the main things to know in 2024 is focus on mobile for sure as far as UX UI, and again, making sure that we're just telling the very basic things about the product or service or whatever we're into, whatever business we're into, just making sure people know that right away. And yeah, I think doing the basics like Google page speed and technical SEO type things. That's what it feels like to me. I feel like we have all these tools and all these. I think it's overcomplication of a lot of different things. And of course, as humans, we want everything to be a little bit easier for ourselves. So we have to spend less brain power, less calories and things of that nature. But we do have to take a step back, I think, to your point, and basically just say like, hey, wait a second. Let's ground ourselves a little bit. Like, let's do things the right way and the foundational way and, basically correct, and just make sure we're doing getting those checkboxes covered before we do any of this AI or, any sort of thing, generating content. And anyway, that brings out another thought, but that's maybe a thought for another day around SEO and AI generated content. Cause I was talking to a buddy of mine. Actually, we actually hired him to help us with the SEO on our own website. And I talked to him. I said, hey, what's the deal with these AI generated articles? Like, how good are those? And basically he said, nothing beats the human content writer, because we can actually look at what's working out in the marketplace and basically take that and tweak it. You do something with AI, like it doesn't really replace the human sort of instinct or writing ability. And also he said, Google's on the lookout for that. If it senses something is AI generated, it is going to de-rank that. You actually might even get penalized for that, having that on your website. Yeah. So,
and also platforms like LinkedIn and other platforms are quickly to adapt technologies that identify AI and just don't expose your post to a lot of viewers. So that's definitely happening all over. Great. So look, I know I feel lucky because you shared with me a few fun facts about yourself, but here you can only share one. So choose the best one and tell us something nice about you that listeners will feel that we are not a podcast that is operated by a bot. Okay. So we need the human connection, and we need to know that people they have feelings, they're getting hurt, and they have cool stories to share with us. So please go ahead.
Yeah, I think the one that just sticks out that's relevant to this topic is the Dex. I work at Dekstech, so DEKS was my gamer handle for the longest time. As a young kid, I don't do this anymore because I'm grown up and have a lot of responsibilities. But I used to game a lot, and that was actually my gamer tag. So that's actually how I came up with the name. Long form, I think it's Dex Technology Solutions, but we just shortened it Dekstech.
Nice.
But yeah, it was something I took a lot of pride in because I just wanted to be the best at whatever I did. And that's kind of the mantra that we carry as well. And that's just what comes to mind. Like, it's kind of funny that it lives on with me. Like, I can only imagine contacting my buddies from back in the day and saying, hey, I'm running a company, and look at the name. They probably think that's kind of funny. But yeah, it's just kind of carrying that torch, I suppose, of just trying to be the best at whatever we put our minds to. And I think everybody can take that away today is whatever we're doing, even if maybe we're not in the best spot or we don't exactly like where we're at, it's like, hey, I'm just going to do my very best at whatever I'm doing right now at this given moment. because we can always, you can always have more stuff, more money, more fame, whatever it may be that you actually want. But I think it's important to recognize that like there's nothing like the present, and just to dedicate our very best to whatever we're doing at that point in time.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the meaning or the mantra behind Dex, and just think it's kind of a fun thing, like a little just, nothing corporate about that, right? It's just like an old gamer tag that I threw in front of the company name. So
nice. No, but I also like the present moment vibe, right? Don't be stressed out about the future or depressed about the past. Live here, live now, and enjoy.
Yeah. Otherwise, you might miss something, right? Or you might not enjoy much of anything, I suppose, if you're living in the past or the future. So yeah, definitely agree.
Great. Look, fascinating chat. Thank you so much.
Of course. No problem at all. And good to talk to you today.
It was a pleasure. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Thank you for joining us on this episode. Your support means the world to us. If today's episode has been insightful for you, consider sharing it with someone who would also benefit. Even one share can make a big difference. Looking to elevate your e-commerce game? Discover Vimy, a multi-channel e-commerce platform that will transform your business with the power of shoppable video. Visit us at vimy.net to learn more. It's Vimy, VIMMI.net. Thank you for being part of our journey. Stay tuned for more invaluable insights in our next episode.